Hi there.
Hey!
We're the Randalls.
I'm Kaitlyn.
And I'm Brandon.
This is episode 3 of our marriage story. We've been away for a lot longer than we wanted to, just because I had been homesick, not from coronavirus, but from strep. So, I had a couple scares in the emergency room, but I am on new antibiotics and I'm feeling a little bit better. So hopefully Brandon will do most of the talking, because my throat is a little bit sore.
That's scary, me doing all the talking. Yeah, I've been home still, but I have been home and healthy. So I can do most of the talking, as long as the dog doesn't distract us.
Wasn't it like after our first date you were like, you did like 75% of the talking, but that's okay because I don't do much of the talking?
I walked away from our first date and I think it was more like 95 or 99% of the talking that she did. That's what it felt like.
It was not that bad.
After a few questions, she just did the rest of the talking for the date, and I walked away being like, I'll never have to talk for the rest of my life. This is great. I've got to keep her. And so here we are. But I guess this episode, I'm doing most of the talking.
All right.
Here it is.
So we do have a couple questions from some fans.
Friends and family, our fans, yes.
Our fans.
We have fans now.
First question is from a good friend, Cole. He asks, in these coronavirus days, long distance is a new reality for a lot of dating couples. Any advice to ease this transition? Okay, so first I just want to say, use this opportunity to ask the questions that have been burning since you first started dating. The questions that you've thought, maybe this is not the right time to ask this. I'm telling you now, it's the right time. So I think that Brandon and I, when we first started talking, when we weren't able to meet up because we were long distance, he was asking me questions, and we were pretty open and honest from the very beginning. So, and I think that has a lot of really good factors in our relationship, in our marriage now. So.
Yeah, I mean, when you're long distance, all you really have is trust and communication. If you think your significant other is misleading you, or if you don't trust them, that's not a healthy relationship for a long distance. That's not going to keep going. Because really that's all you have when you're long distance is trust and communication. So this is the perfect time to build that good foundation without any physical distractions.
Right. And you can still find things to do that are date worthy. What we actually used to do is we both really liked Grey's Anatomy. So what we would do is we would FaceTime each other, and then we would put the new episode on, and then one of us would decide when to play, and he'd say, or he would say play, and then we play, and then we watch the episode at the same time, and comment on what's happening or anything. It didn't start off that way. It started off with we would just text each other and watch at the same time. Then it was a phone call. Then we started doing FaceTime. So if you've already met up face to face, then I'm sure that FaceTime is okay. And now there's like screen sharing, and Netflix has a screen sharing thing that you can do too, which we did not have. So that's pretty cool.
Back in the olden days of 2016.
And 17, yeah. Back in those days, we if one of our TVs or laptops were buffering, then we would be like, stop, pause, and then the other one would have to pause, and then we'd have to decide, find out where we were, so we were on the same segment.
So we also used to do dinner dates where we would each just set up a dinner in front of us and just eat and act like we were on a date, even though we couldn't be in the same room or even the same state. So I know a lot of y'all may have to do some social distancing this time, and don't want to come into contact with too many people, or at least as often. And so these are some of the things that you can do to still stay connected to each other, and without being in the same room, same city.
So other things you could do, you could find, there's a lot of apps and games out there that you can play distantly as well. So I promise you they're just as boring online as they are in person too. So
It's not nice.
So
Yeah, you can play fun board games, anything from checkers and chess to Words with Friends, or iMessage has a bunch of games that we play, even when we play them when we're sitting next to each other on the couch.
Especially 8-ball. 8-ball's our favorite.
I'd like to thank my grandparents for this inspiration. They used to, when we were at Disney World, they would, when we got back from the parks back to our hotel room, they would sit on the same bed and text each other pictures from that day. And this was back when, this was in early 2000s, before sending pictures was an often done thing. They would send pictures back and forth on the same bed. And so we're kind of doing that with games.
Kind of doing that with games here.
So our second question was from my brother Benjamin, and he asked what I told my mom I was going to do when I went on my first date with Kaitlyn. My mom, as many of you may know, will ask me where I'm going when I'm home, as many of your moms will do. I was home for Thanksgiving, and
you didn't have a car.
I didn't have a car, so I needed to use her car. And I did not say I'm going to meet up with someone who I met online last night, even though that was true. Didn't tell my mom that. What I did say was I'm going to go get coffee with a friend, which was still honest, and that I felt like that was ample amount of information for my mom, and then we could go from there. And I did have coffee with a friend.
It's just a new friend that you hadn't met yet.
Yes,
in person. Yeah. Okay, and so those are all of the questions we have
for today.
Please send more questions to us. You can comment on this video. You can find us on Facebook, because we're also going to post this to Facebook. Or you can email our email, which is therandallalliance@gmail.com. We'll put it in the description below. So we're going to end with a fun fact about us. So we both actually listen to podcasts more than we listen to music.
Yeah, we both really love music, but we are so involved in different musical groups in our lives. Me more behind the scenes, but of course still having to listen to music to program Lights to it and her different singing groups. Usually in the car or at night, we just listen to podcasts.
But we listen to entirely different podcasts. So I don't like listening to his, and he doesn't like listening to mine. So what's your favorite podcast to listen to?
So the most recent favorite podcast that I've been listening to is called The Portal by Eric Weinstein. It's kind of just, he interviews a lot of people that may not get media attention, or just tries to tell the news in a different way that you may not see. So I find it really interesting. What is your favorite podcast right now?
My favorite podcast is Crime Junkies with Ashley Flowers and Brit Prawat. And I also listen to some others because I kind of binged all of Crime Junkies, so I only get to listen to it once a week now when they come out with a new episode. So in the meantime, I find different true crime podcasts like Corpus Delicti and Down the Hill and All Crime No Cattle, which is a true crime podcast about true crime in Texas. It's pretty cool. You should listen to that one too. I actually sometimes go to sleep listening to those.
Me too.
And yeah, so I don't know, there's just something soothing about talking about murder. I don't know.
Because she's crazy. No, I like murder. Excuse me. I like murder shows and everything as much as her, I think. But sometimes I feel like she gets too much into it, or just listen to it too much. A specific example that I can clearly remember was that one time she was picking me up from work, and we're going out to eat, and I had a pretty long day. My mind was just full, just done for the day. I get in the car, and even before I can say hello to her, I hear from the car stereo, and the man was murdered, and his body was left out on the street, and it was chopped to bits. And I'm like, please listen to something else, just for a few minutes, so I can say hi, and then we can go back to listening to this murder scene, because I've had a long day. But I clearly remember that, even though it was months and months ago.
Well, sometimes I get in the car and then I hear just a bunch of political stuff that I already get enough of on social media and I don't want to listen to all the time. So it's the same thing. He'll be listening to something very political and very divisive, and which is a good learning tool, but sometimes I want to get away from it, and so I get in the car and I'm like, can we please listen to something else? So then we end up listening to music together, because we can't listen to each other's podcasts very often. So
we both still love music.
Yes.
So that's it for this episode of our marriage story. Tune in next time and leave your questions below so that we can have more content. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye. Hello, so that you know how to get a hold of that. Are you saying hello to your crotch?
No, I was waving to the email address below. So that's it for this week's. You told me I'd do all the talking, so I'm just gonna mess up everything.
That's fine.
Every line.
Yeah, just mess up every line. It's fine.
And we're rolling. Yeah. I don't know why. We can say it unashamedly.
Thank you, fans. All 4 of you.
50.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
No barking, okay? I don't care who comes to our door. I don't care if someone comes to our door.
No barking. We're trying to do a video. Be good. Okay. And action. Okay.
You ready?
Action.
Hey, you're so calm now. Good job.
Brandon, I said action.
I wasn't calm though. Action! Why are we saying action? This is a movie set.
Because you told me to say action last time.
No, I didn't.
Yes,
just
you
started
did.
saying.
You said you didn't say action, so then I started saying action so that you knew when we were starting.
A celebrity.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying.
Hey.
I'm just letting you know when we're starting.
Just cut her pure.
It's fine. It's
That's
fine.
not right.
Yes, it's okay. It's fine. Without being in the same room as each other.
You gonna finish my
Sentences.
sandwiches?
Oh. Oops.
It was virtually time spent together, and thanks, Tom. But I told you not to be one. Stop! You clack too loudly. You clack.
You're clacking too much.
Don't clack. You're clacking.
Okay. So say.
Blooper reel would be much longer than the actual one, because we haven't stopped rolling. Please don't put this on the floor.
I'm not putting all of it, just parts of it. No, just parts of it.
Rawr, vicious puppy.
I don't think she likes that. Okay, she's like, bye. Pause just a second. Go. I marked out the wrong question. That's why I was like, what? Because I marked out the wrong question.
Do you want me to talk since you said I would do most of the time?
Yes, but I...
So the second question was from, I can't read that.
You remember what the question is?
Yes, I do. I'm not sure why you were showing it to me though. Here it is. Sure.
So, first question. In these coronavirus days, long distance is...
So our second... Can't speak.
Sorry. It's like a witch laugh. Okay, this first question is from Cole.
My hand was up here. I want you to start with my hand up here.
Gosh, I
You can't cut to that.
Okay, well, I didn't know.
Sit.
Sit. Sit.
Lay down. Lay down. Lay down.
She's fine. She's fine. Okay.
Don't do any of that clanking.